hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X. It's January 5th. We have 5 games out there on deck for this Sunday on the ice. And now we were able to get some nice winners yesterday. We had some hard losses in some of those games as well. That first period didn't kick off nicely in that game yesterday for the Washington Capitals, but we were able to get them in the end to cover that puck line. They tied it up, but we were live when they were down 1-0 in that first period. We had them puck line though, so I wasn't impressed with puck line for the full game, so that did come back and break even on that game. And Ovechkin got the goal, so hopefully you guys jumped on that. We had a nice win by the Minnesota Wild over the Carolina Hurricanes. We had the Kings with another win, so lots of great opportunities to jump in on money yesterday, and hopefully we're able to do it as well today. I know. Kyle Connor, I know, you just is always the one, right? So looking at today's slate, we're going to get in and break these down. I'm going to give you guys a word of caution. Since 2 a.m., I had a stupid fire alarm going off in my house. So running on a lack of sleep. Not sure if I got any last night trying to reach this stupid fire alarm. I'm 5'4". I've got high ceilings. I was on a chair. I was on pillows. Couldn't reach the freaking thing to save my life. Ultimately, I put a box on top of a chair and the pillows on top of that, was able to reach the thing, changed the battery with the only battery I had in my house, you guys. And then it didn't freaking work. All of the fire alarms started going off, had to take that battery out, hold the button for like 30 seconds, and then it just kept beeping every minute like normal. So then I went over to Shoppers Drug Mart this morning, got a new battery, came home, and guess what? It did the same freaking thing. So long story short, I Googled how to take a stupid wired fire alarm out of my ceiling while I'm standing on what looked like a cartoon setup. For sure, I need to invest in a step ladder, but the step ladder wouldn't be high enough. I need to invest in a ladder here. So that is my story of the day. I got it out of the ceiling. The fire alarm sitting on the other side of my desk. Don't worry. I have I moved into a brand new house. I have like 4 fire alarms within striking distance. I can throw a football. One on the other side of this wall, one in the hallway. This one was actually in my studio. So quite annoying here, but we will get into today's games. But that's my story. That's how today started. That is for sure. So the New York Rangers are taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. That's where we're going to kick off here. Looking at lines over on FanDuel, we have the Rangers at minus 137. Who wants to lay any sort of juice on this Rangers team? I absolutely do not want to. The Chicago Blackhawks at home, they have already pulled off a win versus the Rangers this season. It was a 2-1 win. I think they can do it here again. Tyler Bertuzzi has been so strong for this team. He's been able to get those goals as of late. Connor Bedard is playing great. And this Rangers team isn't a team that I have any confidence in at the moment. We know Igor Shesterkin is on the IR. They have a backup goaltender in today. I'm expecting the Chicago Blackhawks at home to be able to score. Give me them at plus 114 on the money line. We look at Peter Mrazek coming in here for them. They are off that win versus Montreal on Friday. Now, that was a win where you look at Montreal and how they've been riding so hot. They had the Avs on deck yesterday. So it was a letdown spot for Montreal, but we did see Chicago really a step up. So against an AHL goaltender that's been brought up that I have no faith in, 14 games in the AHL, he's gone 4-9-1 in those 14 games with a 3.64 goals against average and an 888 save percentage. I just can't count on him to limit Chicago. So if you want to look at Chicago's team total, just take it to the over. I don't blame you. I'm going to look at a couple of different ways. I'm going to take the Blackhawks straight up on the money line, and then I'm going to take the Rangers team total. They have a team total of 3.5, and I'm expecting them to stay under. The book's expecting them to stay under that total of 3.5 too, because it's juiced. It's minus 122 to the under, but I think it is worth a shot. The Rangers have lost 7 of their last 10, and they've scored 2 or less goals in 7 of their last 9. So I can't get here behind the New York Rangers. Give me the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me Tyler Bertuzzi for the anytime goal. He's got a goal in 3 of the last 4 games out there on the ice. And we have the rest advantage for Chicago. The Islanders and the Boston Bruins are up next. Now, Boston off a loss last night to the Leafs. In that game, Matthew Knives of the Maple Leafs was able to get a hat trick last night. So Boston lost that 6-4. Looking at them then coming back home here versus the Isles. This is a game they should come out strong, but I think the Isles with the rest advantage have the ability to pull off the upset. This has moved to a straight pick'em. It was the Isles were the underdog coming into this one. The lines have moved. Total of 5.5. Sorokin in net tonight for the Isles has the upper hand. Sorokin coming off a good game. They actually are he's coming off that loss to the Leafs. They lost that game to the Leafs in their last game out on Thursday. Sorokin, even though they lost 2-1, he did stop 29-21 shots on goal. So he played a really nice, strong game out there, even in the loss. And I'm counting on Sorokin to play better than Korpisalo here. Korpisalo will be in net tonight for the Boston Bruins, with Swayman getting the start last night. We know Korpisalo. I really thought this kid was going to be incredible out there, especially after I saw him in a couple of games, but he has just not looked like the goaltender we saw him in a couple of games last season. So Korpisalo 7-4-1 on the season, 2.71 goals against average, and then 895 save percentage. Not trustworthy. Second night of back-to-back for the Bruins. This is their first game home off a 3-game road trip as well. Another good fade spot. Boston has been strong at home, though. They've won their last 6 home games. So I understand if you want to back them here, but I think the Isles with the rest advantage win in a lower scoring game. Give me the under. I think the under is a nice way to go with this one. I don't see that offensive production coming out of either of these teams. The under 5.5 coming in at minus 102. I'm going to take Brock Nelson here of the Isles for the anytime goal. You're getting his anytime goal at plus 300, currently over on FanDuel. So this is the first game on the road here for the Isles. They've got Vegas on Thursday and Utah on Saturday. They have lost the last 3, though. So not the prettiest of teams to back, that is for sure. Vegas didn't disappoint. Yeah, Timothy, good call on Vegas last night. I know you were riding with them. They came out nice and strong in that game. Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Mo. Boston, Carolina, Toronto. Okay. I like where you're going, Timothy, putting them all money line in a parlay. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Carolina Hurricanes is our next game on deck, you guys. Looking at odds on this one, total of 6.5 seems really high in a Carolina game. Let's be honest, this team has been so inconsistent. They lost that last game there. Home domination just hasn't been there in some of these games. Now, the under 6.5 at minus 134. So we do have to lay the juice to the under. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been a team that have been allowing these goals to come in. So could their goaltending be the issue that pushes this over that total? It absolutely could be, especially with Carolina coming off that loss last night. They're going to be frustrated with what they allowed to the Wild, but I think we see that lockdown defensively. And for their defense to step up and really try to lock down the Penguins, who we know can be potent offensively at times as well. They are off 2 losses, the Penguins here. Friday, they had the shootout loss versus the Florida Panthers. That was a 3-2 loss. Now, they were able to keep it tight, pushed it to overtime, pushed it to shootout, but just couldn't get things done. And then Carolina, like I said, yesterday. So the rest advantage does come here to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is a battle of the Metro. What we've seen here between these two, Carolina has really dominated versus the Penguins, and they should be able to get the win at home. I just don't think they're going to cover that puck line. The Penguins haven't won the last 7 meetings in Carolina, so Carolina has won the last 7, and they haven't covered the puck line in their last 4 versus the Metro opponents. But when we look at them versus the Carolina Hurricanes, they have been able to play. The puck line's been 4-3 for the Penguins in the last 7. So they have covered more than they haven't versus the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm expecting the Penguins to cover this one. I think it's going to be a one-goal game. The problem is, looking here at the puck line right now, you're laying too much juice on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't want to get there. I'm hoping the Carolina Hurricanes can go up in that first period. If you want to back them on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal, that's coming in at plus 132. The problem here for Carolina, backup goaltender is in, so the Penguins do have the opportunity to go up first, and then we will not be able to get the puck line for the Pittsburgh Penguins plus 1.5 with any values. So live bet it if you get it, and if you don't have to bet everything out there. So that's how I'm approaching this one. I will live bet this game if Carolina goes up first, coming back on the Penguins with the value. I do think going into this one, this is an under game. I would take the under 6.5. I know you're having to lay the juice at minus 134. That juice is ticking up, you guys. It was minus 120 earlier in the morning, but strong trends to the under between these teams. And I do think Carolina will look to lock down in this game and not allow those goals to come after allowing 4 last night to the Minnesota Wild. And the Penguins have to give Tristan Jarry that support and not allow the Carolina Hurricanes to really feast on him. When we look at the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Leafs off that big win versus Boston. So you look at the Leafs, and they're a team that off a big win, they seem to cost us money if we back them again versus a team that they should easily beat. So emotional big win versus the Bruins, because we know the Bruins and them have had their battles. That rivalry is deep. Now they're facing the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers rolling into Toronto at plus 125. Total of 6.5, minus 112 to the under, or sorry, to the over, minus 108 to the under. I do like this to the over 6.5. We're starting to see the juice tick up on this. It was minus 109, minus 110 right before we kicked off the show. So it's moved up a couple of points here. I still think it's worth the value of hitting on it. I do think the Flyers, with the rest advantage here, will be able to score on the backup goaltending. We got backup goaltending across the board, you guys, in these games today. So I think both of these teams will find the back of the net. William Nylander has been so strong for Toronto. And Travis Konecny, I'm looking for a big day out of the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, if you want to look here at Travis Konecny for 2+ points, I like it. If you would just want to look at him for the anytime goal, I like it as well. He's had a goal in the Flyers' last 2 games. So he has been riding hot. The Flyers have lost their last 8 as a home dog, or as a dog. And so it's a really hard situation to back this team. They are on the road. I was looking at them over 2.5 goals, you guys, but the over 2.5 goals is minus 150. So we're not getting the value there. I do think this is a 1-goal game. So again, jumping on the Flyers, live betting them if Toronto is able to go up right away in this game. Also, with how Toronto does in games that they should win, this is a team that's sitting 6th in the Metro with the Flyers. 4-6 in their last 10. First in the Atlantic here for the Leafs. Off that big win versus the Bruins, you got to think that this is an opportunity for the Flyers to hit the Leafs when they're sitting fat and sassy. The Leafs always let us down in games like this. So if you want to look at the Flyers coming into this with that beautiful plus money, and if you want to look at them after Toronto goes up for even better plus money, I do think it's a strong way to go. I don't think the Flyers are going to give up in this one. They're off that loss to Vegas on Thursday, 5-2. So they're at home versus the Leafs on Tuesday. So we do have a road and home and road situation for these teams facing each other again on Tuesday in Philadelphia. I think the Leafs get the win in Philly, Philadelphia. I think here they take the loss at home. Okay, the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Let's see. You guys, I need some sleep. I'm live on the grid all afternoon too, so make sure you come over and join me. Stupid fire alarm, I tell you. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Anaheim Ducks is our late game. 8:10 Eastern kicking off. Now this total sitting at 6.5. Minus 150 to the over. That's disgusting. Why haven't they bumped up this number, you guys? Plus 122 to the under. I don't want them to bump it up. I want the under 6.5. Let's start getting more plus money to that under 6.5. I will sign up for that all day long. Now, I know the Tampa Bay Lightning have a strong offense and they're able to score at will, but you look at Dostal in net for the Ducks, and he has been playing a strong. He's 10-11 on the season with a 2.73 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. So I think he can do enough. I think the defense can lock down here on the Ducks. We're looking at both of these teams second night of a back-to-back, and I know sometimes we see those defenses on the second night of a back-to-back really collapse, but I'm expecting in this one just not that offensive production out of either of these teams. In the last 10 games, we've seen both of these teams go 6-4. This last game on the road here for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. I think we got tired legs, but not tired legs where I'm afraid the Ducks are going to score multiple goals on goals in each period. So I'm going to go with the under 6.5. I think this is a 3-2 style game, at worst 4-2. So the under has been a really strong trend between these two teams. The last 7 meetings, we've seen 1 push, 11 unders, 5 overs. And in Anaheim in the last 11, 9 of those games have stayed under that total. When you are looking at goal scorers, though, because I do still think both of these teams put up a couple, I do see 4-2, 3-2 style. Troy Terry, there's no denying him here for the Anaheim Ducks. And Jake Guentzel here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's been on fire. 7 goals and 5 assists in the last 10 games. Troy Terry in the last 10 games, 5 goals and 4 assists. So those would be your playmakers. Again, I like the Ducks plus the 1.5. I think if it's 4-2 win, it's because of an empty netter there by the Tampa Bay Lightning. So be careful with the plus 1.5. You can't bet it at this juice. Again, live betting situation. If the juice drops, if Tampa goes up first in the first period. But you guys, it's going to be one heck of a night out there. Another live bet. Yeah, it's just got to be live betting out there. Philly wins 4-3. Yeah, Timothy, I really do think Philly gets the win in that one. The Flyers should be able to come out nice and strong. Yeah, the Leafs always let us down when they shouldn't. Right? It's always these games. They step up for the big games. Off that game versus the Bruins are going to be tired out there. So you guys, that is it. We're going to do the recap again. It has been a long day. I'm going to have a little bit of a siesta here before I go on the grid. So make sure you join me on the grid. 4:30 Eastern. So yeah, 4:30 Eastern with Scott Wetzel and Adam Kaufman. I'll be live on the grid. Actually, my Cup of Joe will be out here shortly. I will do that. And then the Madden Quickie will be up on the SportsGrid app. So don't miss out on that. But looking at the recap here at the 17-minute mark, the New York Rangers, the Chicago Blackhawks kicking off at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to take the Rangers team total under 3.5. That's coming in at minus 122. I'm also going to take a shot here on the Chicago Blackhawks straight up on the money line to get the win. Tyler Bertuzzi for the anytime goal for Chicago. Now, if you do like the Rangers and you want a player to bet on, it's Panarin. Panarin has been their star of this team and will need to get things going. We've got an AHL goalie brought up for the Rangers, though, and I do think Chicago will be able to light the lamp. The New York Islanders versus the Boston Bruins. I think the Boston Bruins could be in a letdown spot coming home after playing the Leafs last night. I think the Isles can win in a lower scoring game with Korpisalo in net tonight for Boston and Sorokin here for the Isles. So give me the Isles with that plus money. And actually, this has moved to more of a pick'em and the under in this game. But I do think Brock Nelson will find the back of the net here for the Isles. The Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a live betting situation on the Pittsburgh Penguins, plus 1.5 on that puck line if the Carolina Hurricanes go up in that first period. Coming back in on the Penguins when we're getting more value on that puck line. As we go into this game, if you really wanted to look at the Canes in the first period, puck line laying a half a goal, that's coming in at plus 132. This team should come out with fire after being shut out last night versus the Minnesota Wild. But I do think it's a 1-goal game at the end of the day. The under 6.5, I think, is a solid play. You're going to lay the juice to the under 6.5. These teams really do trend to the under, especially in Carolina. And I'm expecting that defensive lockdown by the Carolina Hurricanes on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is one game that I really do like to go to that over. I'm looking at the over 6.5. It's minus 110 to the over. I like the Flyers team total, but not the juice we have to lay on it. That's coming in at 2.5, and it's minus 150, so I can't get there. I do think the Flyers on the money line is definitely worth a shot. Toronto always shoots themselves in the foot in these situations where they're not expecting the best of their opponents. These teams do play again on Tuesday in Philadelphia. I'm expecting the Flyers win today. Toronto wins in Philadelphia. If you want to look here at someone for the anytime goal for Toronto. It would be Nylander, and then Travis Konecny coming out nice and strong for the Flyers. I'm going to take him for the anytime goal, but 2+ points as well at almost +400 for 2+ points. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Anaheim Ducks. Again, I think this is a tight game here. I like the Ducks +1.5, but not the juice we have to lay on it. It's -162. If the Lightning go up in that first period, I'll be coming back in on the Ducks. I think this is a lower scoring game here. The under 6.5, we're getting plus money. Give me the under 6.5 at +122. I'm counting on Dostal to stand tall between the pipes. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning on the second night of a back-to-back. And the last game out there on the road, actually they weren't on back-to-back. Yeah, they were 2-1 last night to the Kings. So second night back-to-back, last game on the road. I do expect some tired legs offensively out of this team. So that is the recap, you guys. Happy Sunday. I'm glad you're feeling the dogs. I do think we've got some nice home dogs between the Ducks. And if we could get the Ducks to get the win today, and we could get the Chicago Blackhawks, I'm going to put that in a parlay, you guys, actually, now that I think about that, because I do think we have the opportunity. The Ducks have every opportunity, and so do the Chicago Blackhawks, and the plus money we're getting for both of those to win 2-leg parlays coming in at +426. So that is, again, the Anaheim Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks, both to pull off the upset wins today at home. Those are your two home dogs of the day. The road dogs are, the big road dog is the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. If we could get those two guys to win as well, that would be coming in at +503. So let me know if you believe in the road dogs or the home dogs better, you guys. It's going to be a great day out there on the ice. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here. Stay tuned for the Cup of Joe. And if you just want to fade me based on the fact that since 2 a.m. my time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, I have been up dealing with this stupid fire alarm. Fade away, you guys. So all the best, though. I hope you cash some tickets today. We'll see you tomorrow back here on Puck It with Joe on the grid, noon Eastern. Bye, you guys.